Okay, we'll go ahead and begin. Welcome, everyone. My name is Rika Edward. I am a civil rights specialist, and thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss the DBE interim final rule. Please mute all your mics, and the recording will be posted to our website. You can also use the chat function to ask any questions that you may have, and at the end, we will also have a period where you guys can ask any questions that you want. Through the chat or through your mic. And all questions that aren't already addressed in our Q&A document will also be addressed at the end of the webinar. And for today's speaker, we'll have Jaime again, who's our director and DBE liaison officer. And we'll also have the CREO DBE IFR, which is interim final rule committee, speaking today. So just for disclaimers, this presentation is intended as general information only and does not carry the force of legal opinion. The City of Kansas City and the Department of Civil Rights and Equal Opportunity provide this information as a public service. This information and related materials are presented to give the public access to information on city, state, and federal programs. While we try to keep the information timely and accurate, there may be a delay between official publications of materials and modification of these pages. We make no express or implied guarantees, and also we will make every effort to keep this information current and to correct errors brought to our attention. And for today's agenda, we'll have a note from the director. We'll talk about the interim final rule, where the DBE committee will give background information and just an overview of the entire interim rule. Next steps will be personal narrative and personal network. And then we'll open the chat, and also you can unmute your mics to ask any questions and we'll provide answers. And now we'll have the director, Jaime again.
Thank you, Rika. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar series. As Rika mentioned, we will be discussing today the U.S. Department of Transportation's interim final rule for the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. I do want to emphasize that this change is solely for the federal DBE program. Our local MBE WBE program is unaffected by this, and our ordinance remains in place. So just you'll hear this throughout the presentation. This does not affect our local MBE program. I just want to be clear about that. As Rika mentioned, we will open up the chat during the presentation so you can enter your questions there. What we plan to do is record this webinar and make it available by Friday, along with a summary of any questions that we get in the chat or are discussing towards the end of the presentation. We will open it up for questions at the end, as Rika mentioned. So if you have those questions, we can have the discussion there. We'll leave plenty of time to do that. I do want to thank our committee, our planning committee, our DBE committee, for putting this together. There's a lot of information that we've received over the last couple of weeks, because this is a new thing that kind of came into effect pretty quickly. So we want to get this information out to you and see how we can initiate this process and answer any questions that you may have. So with that, I will pass it along to our DBE coordinator, Alex Miller, so we can get the information out to you and get the presentation started.
Thank you, Jaime. Yes, as Jaime said, I am Alex Miller. I am the DBE coordinator for the City of Kansas City. I'm going to be talking to you guys about the DBE program as it's existed, what has changed about it, and what that means for you guys, and give you a little bit of background info on why it's changed. So first, just in case you're brand new to it, the DBE program, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, and the Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, that's what's changing. That's what we're talking about. These are federal programs. When a local jurisdiction, to put it very basically, when a local jurisdiction takes federal dollars to do a local project, like the streetcar or the airport, like we've done, this program allows us to make sure that disadvantaged businesses have a bit of participation in that program. We set goals. We make sure that disadvantaged businesses have a chance to participate in programs that take federal dollars. Again, local dollars, local programs, not affected at all. So the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, we have been a certifier of disadvantaged businesses and airport concessions disadvantaged businesses for as long as we've had this program. To be part of the program, you've always had to show that you were socially and economically disadvantaged. Economically disadvantaged, you guys who've been through this before know that you've had to submit personal net worth statements that show your economic disadvantage. Social disadvantage, there was part of the program that said women business owners or minority business owners were presumed to be socially disadvantaged. That's what this interim final ruling is going to change, and we'll talk a bit about more of that later and how you as a business owner can show that you are socially and economically disadvantaged. So how did the ruling come into place, and how did we get to the point where it's changing? In October of 2023, a couple of years ago, two contractors, Mid-America Milling Company and Bagshaw Trucking, filed a lawsuit saying that the DBE program's use of those presumptions, race and sex-based presumptions of social disadvantage, left them out and therefore was harming them. In May of 2025, this year, the U.S. Department of Justice consented to that, saying that they agree that it violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protections Clause. A month later, the Solicitor General informed the Speaker of the House of Representatives that the DOJ agrees with that the presumptions of disadvantage for women and minority business owners violates the Equal Protections Clause of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. We go to the next slide. So that brought us to the interim final rule this month. We can jump to the next slide here. We'll talk about that. So October 1st of 2025, the beginning of this month, that interim final rule came out. It was posted a couple days later on October 3rd in the Federal Register. What it changes is 49 CFR, the Code for Federal Regulations, and parts 23 and 26, which define those programs, which is where we get how we define airport concession DBE and a disadvantaged business enterprise. I do want to make absolutely clear to you guys and encourage you that there is a 30-day comment period and that this court case is still not resolved. This is just how it's occurred so far, and this is the interim final rule that is affecting. Emphasis on the word interim. It's going forward as is. The 30-day comment period, you can find a link to that on our website. You can go to the Federal Register if you search for the DOT's interim final rule on DBE, I'm sure it'll come up. Encourage you guys to leave any comments there if you have them about how you feel about this program, how it's affected you, how it's affected your local community, that sort of a thing. Any fears right off the bat? We want to talk about executed contracts. What happens to you as a disadvantaged business enterprise owner, one that has been disadvantaged business enterprise owner before, if you are already on an executed contract that is already proceeded? Those contracts proceed as normal. We can't take any enforcement action as far as reporting or not meeting goals, but if you're already signed to that contract, you're treated like any other subcontractor on that contract. You're treated like you're part of the contract and it proceeds as normal. New contracts that come in, we will assess those as they come in. We can't put goals on anything until we get this recertification effort underway. That's what we're going to do. Next slide, please. So the key provisions of the IFR, the interim final rule, what it says is that we have to eliminate the presumption of disadvantage based on race and gender. We have to, in doing so, reevaluate all firms. As long as a single firm remains that has a presumption of disadvantage and hasn't shown specific individual disadvantage, this program can't go forward. So we have to get documents from each and every one of you guys showing in a personal narrative your social disadvantage and showing in a new personal net worth statement your economic disadvantage. The personal net worth statement, even if you've recertified recently, even if you recertified in September, you're going to have to submit that. The IFR states that you have to submit both together, so we do have to have an updated form. The DBE program requirements are suspended until all DBEs in the Missouri Unified Certification Program are recertified. What that means is that we share certifications with other jurisdictions in the state of Missouri. We share certifications with St. Louis, Lambert Airport, Springfield, MoDOT, until every business that each of us has certified in the past gets recertified, and we restart the program based on that. None of this can go forward. So just to be clear right off the bat, we have about 700 businesses that are certified through us. We have the majority in the Missouri UCP. So we don't want them waiting on us. That's why we're going to be hounding you guys about getting these documents to us. And that's why we're going to be trying to push to make sure that we can start getting disadvantaged businesses a fair shot at those contract dollars as soon as we can. During the suspension, no goals, no reporting. We have no enforcement during that. We're going to be focusing all of our efforts on making sure you guys get recertified, but no monitoring until we get that recertification put through. Thank you, Rika. So what else do we know? Just to make it clear to you guys, information is coming all the time from the U.S. Department of Transportation. It sometimes comes at a trickle. Sometimes they release everything all at once, like this interim final ruling, and it kind of, floods us with a bunch of new work. So we're going to get that information to you guys as swiftly as we can. As soon as we receive it, we're sending it on to you guys. Again, this is a federal program, not a local program, so we don't have much control over it. We're just rolling with the punches as they come. We send out most of our notifications through the B2G outreach system. This is especially important if some of you guys have turned off messaging from B2G. If you've opted out of messaging, you're likely not getting some of those messages from us. I'm endeavoring to send messages to those that have opted out through that email address that Rika stated earlier. Again, that is creodbe@kcmo.org. That's creodbe@kcmo.org. I'm trying to get you guys the messages so that if you've opted out of B2G messaging, that you receive something from us and you know what's going on. This might be a good time to turn messaging back on or opt back into messaging. You can contact their support if you have trouble with that in B2G. It's over on the bottom left side. Just to make sure you guys stay informed during this time. But I'll keep sending you guys the messages as I see that some are still opted out. Specifically, the wording in the IFR changes the wording from DBE, from race neutral and gender neutral to DBE neutral, DBE conscious. The IFR removes race and ethnicity and gender data collection. So just in case all of this has gone over your head, you're in the middle of doing other stuff, you haven't had your coffee this morning, listen to this part. Race and gender neutral presumptions are gone. We've always had a program that's relied on social and economic disadvantage. Now we have to have each of you show us that specifically. We're going to have you submit documents to us, a personal narrative and a personal net worth statement. The personal narrative is just a document that you put together. Dan's going to talk about it in a minute. His team's looking at it. That personal narrative just says, here's how I've been socially disadvantaged. The economic disadvantage is your personal net worth statement that you guys are probably familiar with from before. That copy of that document can be found on the B2G website. You can also go to the Department of Transportation's website. That's where that document comes from. All applicants, everybody who's part of this program, have to resubmit those documents. You each have to show individualized evidence of your social and economic disadvantage with a personal narrative and a financial documentation. It cannot be relying on race and gender. Be sure you leave those things out. This is part of the IFR guidance that those things be left out and that the personal narrative does not rely on those things. Every currently certified DBE is going to have to undergo this reevaluation. I can't hit that hard enough. We have 700 firms. I should get from each one of those firms who want to stay in this program, I should get documentation from those in that CREO KC email or CREO DBE. Again, CREO DBE@kcmo.org. That's where you're going to send those documents. You'll send both of them together. The IFR stipulates that both of them have to be attached to the same submission. So make sure you send both. CREO is going to send out a official notice this Friday we're going to request in that official notice that you get those documents back to us. That's going to be our official call to get those documents back. Again, personal narrative, personal net worth statement. The documents will be sent together by email. We are asking, and I emphasize the word asking, that you guys get those back to us in 20 days. So that'll give you until November 19th, or at least send something back to me telling me that, hey, I'm still gathering information. I'm working on it. Please just, be patient with me. That's okay, but I do need to hear back from you guys, especially as the program moves forward. And if we get more info on that, we'll let you guys know. But for right now, we are requesting those, in those 20 days for you guys to get that back to us. What's going to happen is that we'll send out that official message through B2G and through email asking for those documents. You guys are going to send those documents back to CREO DBE at kcmo.org. Those documents go to me. I keep a master list of all of our firms that need to send those in. I check you guys off as you've sent those in. And yeah, you can go to the next slide, Rika. And then I will send the personal narrative and the personal net worth statements to the appropriate teams. CREO is responsible for, CREO KC is responsible for recertifying everyone who we have originally certified. So everyone within our jurisdiction. If your jurisdiction of original certification came from somewhere else, if it's not Kansas City, Missouri, please reach out to whoever certified you originally. They're the ones who have to do your recertification and receive your personal narrative, personal net worth statement, and evaluate those. They have to be submitted together. Again, that's what the IFR says. If you send me one without the other, I can't accept it. You'll get an email back saying, please, resubmit whenever you have those. When we get those documents, again, the personal narrative that I receive from you, I send to Dan's team. He assigns it to an officer to review it. This is the civil rights team. They'll review it for the guidance on social disadvantage that we've gotten. Again, he'll talk more about that in a moment. And the personal net worth statement, whenever I get that from you, I send that to Alvaro's team. They are familiar with the personal net worth statements. We've gotten those in the past. Again, that part hasn't changed, but you do have to submit a new one. What has changed is the presumptions of disadvantage, meaning that you have to submit a new personal narrative stating how you individually, as the owner, have been socially disadvantaged. And I believe now I'm going to throw it to Dan, who's going to talk a little bit about how they're looking at those personal narratives and what specifically they're going over and how they formed maybe a rubric for that sort of a thing.
Thank you, Alex. Good morning,
Dan
everyone.
O'Connor.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this cold, rainy morning. So my name is Daniel O'Connor. I am the Civil Rights Manager. We investigate complaints of discrimination, and we're going to be the folks reviewing your personal narratives. And so one of the new requirements is that every firm participating is going to need to submit a personal narrative. Now, we don't want this to be too burdensome. We know you've got a business to run. And we want to let you do that, but we do need to comply with these new federal guidelines. So all we really need basically is just a brief story of the challenges that you as the business owner have experienced. The language from the federal regulations is that the firm has the burden to demonstrate social disadvantage without reference to race or gender based on individualized proof regarding specific instances of economic hardship, systemic barriers, and denied opportunities that impeded the owner's progress or success in education, employment, or business, including obtaining financing on terms available to similarly situated non-disadvantaged persons. So ultimately, all we need for the written statement is that it needs a specific description of at least one barrier, two, a description of the impact of the barrier, and three, that it be race and sex neutral. Rika, could you go to the next slide? So for example, if a business owner describes their circumstances leading to the lack of access to business loans, maybe due to personal circumstances like their credit score, that would likely be enough to qualify. And so you can talk about all sorts of things. Maybe relevant to you is talking about financial barriers you experience, like excessive insurance costs. Maybe you'll want to talk about business opportunities, like difficulty obtaining contracts. Maybe you or your firm have had employment issues. Maybe you've had lack of access to educational opportunities or resources. Perhaps you've had experiences with the criminal justice system or legal hurdles that have caused your business an impediment. Maybe lack of healthcare or environmental factors. Maybe you had to drive further to the job site. So basically anything can be relevant to your personal narrative. This list of examples is not exhaustive. You can really discuss whatever barriers are important to your situation. And you certainly don't need to discuss all the topics that are listed in the guidance. Now, we know that in the real world, these individual circumstances are inevitably related to societal patterns and history that, may be related to your race or sex, but don't rely on that in your narrative. Frankly, it's best to not even reference race or sex. We don't really need an explanation for why these barriers happened. But the guidelines do require that it not be relying on your race or sex. That's basically what the new rule is. Rika, could you advance to the next slide, please? So these personal narratives will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. We've got an objective rubric that will be applied evenly by the proponents of the evidence to all recertifications. These are, our team are trained civil rights investigators. Most of them have Juris Doctorates and are used to hearing all sorts of stories that happen out there in the world and applying objective legal requirements. So we're not really looking for the saddest story or anything like that. This is not subjective. We're just looking for a review of the legally required criteria. So in order to be open and honest with your submission, it's important that you know that your personal statement is protected by confidentiality rules. This is not going to be released to the general public without your consent unless required by law. Now, as you're preparing these, less may be more. There could be submissions that are just a few sentences that technically meet the criteria and we can move them along. Again, we don't want this to be overly burdensome for you. We just need the specific barrier and the impact, and no reference to race or gender. We are suggesting that the length not be more than 5 pages typewritten, but that's not an absolute requirement. Maybe your story requires more. But if there is a reason that your personal narrative may be disqualifying, you may be contacted informally by your investigating officer, and they can give you an opportunity to correct any deficiencies or clarify any points, and there potentially could be additional time to respond. Now, if there ultimately is an adverse decision against your firm, you do have an opportunity to appeal that with the Department of Transportation within 45 days after you receive the determination. These are on the Department of Transportation's website, and those appeals will be emailed to their email at dbeappeals@dot.gov. Now, my colleague will tell us about the statement of personal net worth.
All right. Thanks, Dan, and good morning, everybody. My name is Alvaro Ontiveros, and I am a division manager here with the city's Civil Rights and Equal Opportunity Department. I'm going to talk to you all about the personal net worth statement. This is not a new requirement, so there's not a whole lot to say. There are just some things that I wanted to clarify. So the personal net worth statement is a direct form provided to us by the U.S. Department of Transportation. Most of you all have done this before. When the rule changed last year, they also updated the personal net worth statement to update some of the criteria as well. So you do have to submit a brand new one that is dated after October 3rd. So all of the information is current. That way we can make a determination of economic disadvantage. So the new personal net worth statement includes things like investment accounts, life insurance. It's all very clearly spelled out, the type of assets and liabilities that you need to account for in there. The new one is 9 pages. So that is a pretty good benchmark to know that you're looking at the right form. The previous one was significantly shorter, but it didn't account for as many things. Additionally, they have included, actually excluded from the calculation, the value of your primary home and the business interest for the business that you are seeking certification. So The magic number is $2.047 million, as long as all of your assets and liabilities, excluding, like I said, your primary home, the business that you're certifying, and your retirement accounts, add up to less than $2.047 million for purposes of participation in the program and the certification of your business. You are considered economically disadvantaged, just for your personal net worth being less than $2.047 million. So that's it. They have elected to make this now a declaration rather than an affidavit, so it no longer requires a notary signature. It is just slightly more burdensome because there are a lot of potential assets and liabilities to cover through. So there's pretty lengthy worksheets talking about types of things you own and types of debts you have, but it shouldn't be too burdensome. Most of you have done this before. We just need an updated one so that we can comfortably sign off on your status as an economically disadvantaged business owner for purposes of reevaluating your certification and your participation in the program. So with that, I will throw it back to Alex to close us out and get us started on the Q&A.
I believe you're muted, Alex.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Rika. Yes, so I see some questions already starting to pop up in the chat a little bit. We will grab into some of those here in a second. Just to reiterate one part I feel like I left out is that you guys will receive a notification once your certification is accepted, once we get those documents from you and it gets assigned to a reviewer and those reviewers say, everything's here is exactly what we need. This is perfect. Great. Recertified. You guys will get a notification that you guys get recertified. And these are, just to make absolutely clear, these are subject to review from the DOT. So the DOT will be spot checking some of these. So that's just another thing to watch out for, is that they're going to be looking a little bit over our shoulder. They're available to anyway. Okay. Do we want to start on questions? Let me go over here. Rita, you can go ahead. Sorry.
I was just want to remind everyone that we will be, even if the webinar ends at 11, we'll be waiting 10 to 15 minutes more to answer any questions anyone have. So yes. You want me to read them out, Alex, or are you going through the Q&A?
I can at least start with one if you want to go through and pick a few out. I see Julie asked if a business is 51% owned by a disadvantaged person, does only the owner need to submit the PNW and the PN, the personal narrative? Yes, we want the business owner, the 51% owner, that individual to be the one that submits these documents. That's for the existing CFR. It's the owner, the 51% owner, who we move forward with in those regards. Must you be certified in your home state before submitting to KC for recertification if you're from out of state? Yes, Alvaro, maybe. Yes, certify with your home state first, and then I believe we have to get the interstate certifications anew after you get recertified with your state.
Carrie
And I
asked
see,
if CREO is doing the review and approval of the applications, why are the appeals handled through the Department of Transportation? That's fairly standard for appeals processes, to have an external appeals, so that if there was any bias or anything anything you disagreed with the underlying decision, that you've got an external way to review that.
thank you, Dan. And Robert has his hand up. You can go ahead, Robert. Okay. Are you there? All right, we'll probably move on. It seems can't hear him. All right, there's a question asking if there are multiple disadvantaged business owners for the same company. Does each owner need to provide a narrative?
So I can let Dan or Alvaro maybe speak to that a little bit more, but the primary owner would be the one that we would ask for the narrative and the personal net worth statement from.
Thank you. And if race and gender are not acknowledged, how do you explain in a narrative there are disadvantage issues? It appears a profit or income level that is lower than national average is the only indicator. If this is the case, the applicant might be judged for not working hard enough. What are the options for explanation?
Well, so yeah, that is a good question. The personal narrative can talk about instances of hardship that the owner has overcome, and it doesn't really need to reference the reasons for it. And so, yeah, you might kind of want to just dance around the reason for the hardships.
I saw somebody in the chat ask here too if do we recertify with CREO and the state of Missouri or just CREO? If CREO is your original certifier, you recertify with us. So if you were originally certified with the CREO KC, it's us. Reach back out to us.
Are the certifications transferable?
I guess I can take a stab at it. Transferable depends. So our local programs are modeled after the DBE program, except for we haven't updated to add this requirement. So it's transferable in that way that the requirements are the same. As far as interstate, if you all are certified with Missouri being your home state, then we will process your certification. And once it's been reevaluated and you are once again DBE certified, then the guidance from the USDOT is that then you are able to resubmit with the reevaluated certification. You are able to resubmit for interstate consideration with other states.
Thank you, Alvaro. Are specific instances of discrimination which armed your company not acceptable for personal narrative?
That's a great question. Specific instances of discrimination that you experienced very well could be a qualifying impediment that you experienced, but it would probably be best to not reference the protected category that led to the discrimination.
Thank you. Then, if a business is accepted back as a DBE, how does that affect the interstate certifications? You want to take a
So
stab at it, Alvaro?
Alvaro, if you want to speak to that, maybe.
Yeah, sorry, I think your mic cut out. Could you repeat the question?
Sure. Let me go back. Okay. If a business is accepted back as a DBE, how does that affect the interstate certifications?
Yes. So once your DBE certification is reevaluated by your home state, you will have to reapply for any interstate certifications that you previously held, as well as any interstate certifications that you would like in the future.
Thank you. My total recertification is also due. Should I do that at the same time or focus on the PNW and narrative first?
So again, oh, go ahead, Alvaro.
Yeah, so they will be different submissions. So you can start on the personal narrative and the personal net worth form first. If you also have city certifications that need to be renewed, then it can be done at the same time. Just keep in mind that as of now, and the way we're working through B2G, the application for recertification is a separate process that will be handled internally through the platform, and the submission of the personal net worth, the updated personal net worth form, and your personal narrative is currently being handled through email. So whichever way makes the most sense for you to handle that. But yes, you can do them at the same time.
Thank you.
We're also, sorry, just as a note on that, we're also talking maybe with B2G about if there's a different submittal form, if we can get personal narratives in a different way rather than email. If we come up with a different way, we will let you guys know. For now, again, default to that CREO DBE email. Just email us them there and I'll assign them to the appropriate teams. And if we don't get to your question here, feel free to send it to that email as well, just as a heads up.
Hi, this is Rio Cervantes Reed with Civil Rights and Equal Opportunity. I just want to let everyone know that you should now have control of your microphones. Mr. Nicholas, if you could give that a try again and let us know what your question is, you should be able to unmute your microphone.
It looks like that still may not be working. I'm seeing a
Yeah.
question in the chat from Cervante asking when the personal narratives are being put together, will the CREO team be available to discuss the content on the message prior to submitting? Yeah, we are happy to discuss your submissions prior to submittal. Go ahead and just email that main CREO DBE address and we'll respond to your questions. Now, we're not going to be able to give you legal advice specific to your circumstances or tell you what to say, but we can talk to you about what the rules are going to be and what criteria are going to be applied to your submission.
Thank you, Dan.
I saw
Someone
someone.
asked, is it Kate? Okay, go
Go
on,
ahead.
Alex.
I was just going to say,
I was just reading.
I saw Kristen asking about my email. I'll put that in the chat. I do encourage you to send it just to even those questions, just send to the CREO DBE email. I'll check those. I'll answer that there, but I'll put my email in the chat as well.
Thank you. Is the KCMO original form no longer needed? Do you know what form that is?
I'm assuming they might be asking about the no change affidavit for the city programs. So not for this process. If your city certifications are coming due within the next 2 to 3 months for renewal, you might try to knock all this out at once. But as far as the DBE reevaluation process, no, all we require is your personal narrative and an updated personal net worth form.
Thank you, Alvaro. Is the same owner able to have two companies certified? How does that affect P&W statement?
Yes, so as an owner, you can be the owner of more than one DBE. So what you would have to do is submit two separate personal net worth statements that account for the value of the business interest of each firm that you're trying to certify. Since that is excluded from the calculation, it'll be probably slightly different from one version to the next. But yes, we can use the same personal narrative and then personal net worth forms that account for the value of each business.
Thank you. Why does this ruling not affect your MBE WBE program? It was also mentioned that goals already issued are not in jeopardy. Why?
So this only affects because it's programs that take federal dollars. So any program that takes federal money is subject to this new rule. The DBE program is specific to any projects that take federal dollars. We're able to set our own rules if it's local Kansas City dollars. If it's only local dollars that go into a program, then we set our own rules for it. That's where the MBE and the WBE program come from. So we're able to set our own rules and we're able to make decisions on who qualifies for those ourselves, and that's part of our ordinances. This program specifically is only for those projects that take federal dollars.
if she just wants some space and.
I think somebody might have a mic on, but yeah, so it's just programs that take federal dollars, and because it's a federal program based on federal dollars, they get to decide what stipulations they put on those certifications. They get to decide what a certification means, and we just manage the certifications and manage the contractors locally for those projects.
Thank you. Is this based on upcoming renewal, meaning ours, meaning the Sierra's business, renews May 2026, or both narrative and PNW is due by November 19th? So they're asking if it's based on upcoming renewal or both the narrative and the PNW due by November 19th.
So we're still waiting for some clarification on that. Maybe we're asking right now for it to be submitted by that November 19th date. That is based on I can put it in the chat, but it's 49 CFR 26.67, which states that if we send you a notice that Part 3 states that if we send you a notice that your membership to a disadvantaged group is in question, you have 20 days from that written explanation to send something back to us. But then the DOT told us that we can't put a hard and fast deadline. So we're asking right now about that. And for what this means for you guys is we just ask that we get it back in the 20 days, and we'll give you more guidance as we get it. But for now, just please get it back to us in the 20 days. Again, it's just because it behooves you guys. It's better. It'll get you guys back on fair participation on contracts faster if we get all the narratives back and recertified as soon as we can.
Thank you, Alex. We have already submitted and got approved by SBA last year for DBE based on the narrative submitted. Is there a reciprocal agreement based on SBA approval with DOT, or we just need to resubmit that narrative to CREO DBE once again?
Sorry, my mic kind of cut out for that. Or sorry, my audio kind of cut out for that. I missed part of that.
Okay. Do you want me to repeat, or are you going to take it, Alvaro?
I can take a stab at it. So there is no reciprocity with the SBA 88 program. However, it seems that what this IFR, this interim final rule, seeks to do is to try to more closely align the requirements. So if you already have your personal narrative that was submitted and approved for the 8A program, it probably would also pass muster, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel for this purpose. So feel free to submit it. It's not automatic reciprocity, but the requirements are very closely aligned. So yeah, no need to do extra work.
Thank you, Alvaro. How long do you expect to take? How long do you expect to take to review submitted applications?
So that section that I was referencing earlier, we still are waiting for guidance on that. That section says that if you send it to us in 20 days, then we have 30 days to get back to you guys. Again, I want to emphasize that there are 700 businesses that we are working through this for, so be patient with us. It will get assigned. You will get a message back either telling you, we need more info, or you've not included enough here, or you are recertified. So be looking for that. If you submit something and it's been, a while since you submitted it and you want to update, please reach out to me. I'll be monitoring that email pretty close, that CREO DBE at kcmo.org.
Thank
This
you.
is Rio
Rio?
again. I do have a question for Dan that came in through the Q&A. It's from Cynthia Heron. And I know you did touch on this, if you could maybe elaborate. If race and gender are not acknowledged, how do you explain in a narrative there are disadvantage issues? It appears a profit or income level that is lower than the national average is the only indicator. If that is the case, the applicant might be judged for not working hard enough. What are the options for an explanation?
Well, so the criteria we're looking at isn't really looking at the reason for the disadvantage. And so we're not going to be making a judgment that the personal narrative submittal didn't work hard enough, or there were other reasons. It doesn't really matter for the criteria that we're going to be using the reason for the disadvantage. So we're not going to be concerned about whether you weren't working or not. We understand that there very well could be other circumstances that you're not allowed to talk about.
Thank you, Dan. And there's another question in the Q&A from Stacy Mitchell at Modern Times. And Alex, I think we actually kind of discussed this yesterday. So the DOT stated there is no date as to when a DBE has to submit their personal narrative and personal net worth. It should be open-ended. What is your response to that, please?
Yes, it is. So again, we're waiting on guidance on that. We're getting more and more guidance each day from both our legal department and from the DOT. We're handling what they've submitted as far as guidance and what is codified in the CFR as best we can. And so we're waiting on something based on what is codified in the CFR. For right now, again, I just want to make clear we are asking you guys. I'm not telling you it has to be in those 20 days. Just please try to get it to us, and we are hoping to get as many of them back as possible so that we can work with the quickest possible timeline as we can and get you guys, back into fair participation on contracts. If somebody takes, until their recertification to get those back to us, then for right now, we're waiting on you to do that, and that means every business in the state could be waiting on you as well. For the DOT guidelines, though, what they've said is no deadlines. So I do want to make clear this is a request.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
So I think it was May 9th. I think it was 2023. I think that was the year. US DOT made the rule change to simplify the interstate application process in other states based on your home state approval. Do you know, has any of that changed in terms of the criteria to go through that process? So if you have to reapply, will it be through the same rules that were instituted in that rule change from, I believe it was May 9th, 2023. That seems to be the date that's sticking in my head.
Yes, so the interim final rule is pretty silent on interstate certifications. So the only thing that we can infer is that you will have to go through the reevaluation process with your home state and then reapply through the same manner and venue that you did previously after you've been recertified and reevaluated by your home state. So it will be a bit of repeat work, but there doesn't appear to be any changes to the guidelines from that previous rule change, like you said. So it should still be just providing proof of certification in your home state, and then they'll have 10 days to turn it around in the other states that you've requested certification.
Right. Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You
go
can
ahead.
ask your question.
Yeah, okay. I'm an out-of-state firm and I'm certified in like 5 different states. And I tuned in late, so pardon me if I'm asking you a question that you've already addressed. earlier, so please bear with me.
Mhm.
I've been told by Illinois that you go, because I'm certified in Wisconsin, they said, go to your home state, get certified first there, recertified, because I've submitted my application to your agency as well as to all the other agencies. So does that mean now that I have to first get approval from my home state and then reapply again to your state?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So your home state governs your certification. Once they've signed off on this reevaluation, you're free to reapply to recover all of your interstate certifications. And like I said, there hasn't been any changes to the interstate evaluation process. So the biggest hurdle here for you will be your home state. But once that's through, it should be a pretty clear path to get all your other interstate certifications back.
So is that just a written request to you and the home state will submit all the documents to you? Is that how, like, that's how it was done before? Is that how it will be done even now?
Yes, so you'll have to provide us with proof of certification in your home state. And then once they've signed off on it, we would be able to issue your interstate certification.
Okay, so the November 19th soft deadline, I call it, doesn't apply to firms like me because I need to first get certified in my home state.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right.
So, I asked earlier if there are multiple business disadvantaged owners for the same company. Um, I understand we need to provide a narrative. Does each disadvantaged owner need to provide their own personal narrative, or is it one personal narrative for the company as a whole?
We haven't really received a lot of guidance on the personal narratives, but we can probably infer based on like the personal net worth requirement. It's the disadvantaged status of the majority owner that you're relying on for certification purposes. So unless we hear differently, I would assume it's a personal narrative for the majority owner whose disadvantaged status you're relying on for the certification, as well as the personal net worth statement for them as well.
But they each have their own the same percentage. So it's each one of their equal owners percentage.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I multiple disadvantaged owners for the same company. And they all have the same ownership percentage. So is it one narrative for the whole company? Because it's the same story pretty much for all three. Or however many.
Yeah. I think we might have to evaluate that on a case by case basis. But it's if
So
it's
may
the
I?
same statement of disadvantage, then it could probably be a single submission.
So may I weigh in on this? I
Yeah,
guess
please.
I used to do certifications in my previous life, but
Sure.
things may have changed now. But I think when we were determining if there were multiple owners that whose disadvantaged status was being relied upon to get that 51% ownership, then all of them, you looked at all their net worth and personal net worth as well as the affiliation at that time. It was which group do you belong to?
Right.
So that's how we determined whether there was 51%. So here, conceivably, if they each have equal shares, assuming all of them have 33% or one has 34%, maybe you could combine, just identify two of them and say we have over 66%. So therefore, we don't need, I think it should be sufficient. But again, that's for you guys to decide. And I don't know, in the current political climate, what kind of guidance you're going to get to determine that kind of situation. But
Right.
logically, it would be not, if you have three people or four disadvantaged individuals, find the people so that you get to that 51% requirement and then you don't care about what the others, because you're not relying on their disadvantage or economic status to determine whether your firm qualifies as a DBE firm.
Oh,
I'm just logically saying this. I don't know.
I see what you're saying. Okay, thank you.
I mean, don't quote me on it. You need to find out from Kansas City how they want to handle it. But
Yeah,
that
no,
would
but
be
I
my
agree.
argument. That would be
Yeah,
my argument if you know,
well,
you were
and I agree with your logic because all owners were relied upon for that disadvantaged status. So I see what you're saying, and until we can get further clarification
guidance.
from CREO, at this point, I'll just go ahead and work with my client or work with that family or what. Anyways, work with the company to get it all together. Sorry.
Ria, you have your hand raised?
Yes, there's a good question here in the Q&A from Brandon Lee. But before I say anything more, I do want to make sure everyone knows, remind you that if you are certified also or only through the local program, the Minority and Women Business Enterprise, the Small Local Business Enterprise programs, this does not affect you. This only affects your DBE certification, which is the federal program. So I just want to make sure that you keep that in mind. If there are questions coming in about the MWBE program, I'm trying to answer them behind the scenes, but we're not going to really address it during this meeting, but we'll definitely address them at some point here as soon as possible. So the question I have comes from Brandon Lee, and I'm going to probably ask Mark to join the call to answer this one, or Alvaro can. So I'm still confused on the MoDOT versus KCMO recertification. If I got certified as an MBE through MoDOT first and then turned around and then applied and got certified through KCMO's MBE program, who do I submit the papers to? Do they go to both parties? So my understanding is there is no MBE program through MoDOT. So Mark or Alvaro, do one of you want to take that?
That is correct. There is no MBE program through MoDOT. They only do DBE.
Yeah, I believe the Department of Commerce may have an M or W. I think housing may.
That's the state of Missouri, though.
Yeah, through the state of Missouri. But we do not, the MoDOT itself does not have an M or WBE program, just the DBE. And we are not reciprocal with Department of Commerce or Housing on any MBE or WBE program they have. The only MBE, WBE program that we recognize is the one that is certified through the city of Kansas City, Missouri, through CREO, through our division, our department. So anything other than a DBE through MoDOT is not affected by this program, nor are we reciprocal with it.
So in response to Brandon's issue where he got certified by one and a different one, if he got his DBE through MoDOT, that's who he would resubmit to.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Because we're a member of the same UCP. It's MoDOT, City of Kansas City, St. Louis Lambert, East-West Gateway, Bi-State Development, KCATA, Metro in St. Louis. Those are the members of the MRCC, which is the Unified Certification Program for Missouri. So whichever one of those entities certified, you would go back to them.
Brandon, I just checked. I just searched your name on our master list. Unless you're not the owner, I don't see your name on our master list. If you wanted to send me an email through that CREO DBE email, I can check again, but I don't see you on our list anyway.
Can
I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. You mentioned that the program can't be reinstated until all the current businesses are recertified. So does that mean that if all the businesses don't get recertified or some are taking longer with their documents, that none of it will go forward until everybody's been either recertified or maybe opted out of recertification? And can one business basically hold up the whole process by not getting their documents in?
Yeah, so right now, recertified, decertified, or opted out, any one of those three. If a business holds us up and they meet their recertification date and they become decertified because they can't get this in, that'll push them out of the thing. But yes, you're absolutely correct. Right now, as it stands, with this case still pending and with the interim final ruling that they've put out, the program is not applicable, not going forward, no goals, no DBE mandated participation until every single firm is recertified.
So, may I ask a follow-up question to that? So now I'm out of state. If my home state takes its own time to certify me, recertify me, so in other words, I won't be able to submit my application. Does that mean that I'm certified in your database? Does that mean then that you can't continue with the program till firms like me are certified too?
Alvaro or Mark might be able to speak to this more, but the IFR says every firm originally certified in the UCP of which we are part. So
Okay,
it's only our firms
got
that
it.
we have certified in the rest of the Missouri UCP.
And
Okay,
she would
great.
have
Thank
to-
you.
She would have to rely on her home state.
Yeah, because I don't want to be holding up your firms listed there. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, you would.
vice versa. So
Yeah.
here in
Correct.
Wisconsin too, if they're
Yeah.
out-of-state firms and they are waiting for their home state to certify them, then that means there's a big, time lag.
Correct. And we have some firms that their JOC is Texas. We don't have to wait on them. We just have to recertify all of our originally certified firms, and
Got
the UCP has to do the same. So all of Missouri.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask a question, please.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not quite clear. I am DBE and airport certified, but I don't wish to recertify. I hope that has no effect on my MBE, WBE certification, but I have no interest in recertifying in the program. You all keep talking about all of the original certifications. I assume that means all the original that wish to recertify. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not creating any problems, make sure
You-
our wording is accurate, because I don't
You can-
wish
you
to
can withdraw.
recertify, and I've been certified for 25 years, but I choose not to recertify. I don't want to be a problem on the program.
You can certainly choose to withdraw. That's one of the options.
I'm sorry, say again.
You can certainly choose to withdraw. That's one of the options.
Oh, okay.
But it
Well,
won't affect
nobody's
your.
talked.
It
I
won't
haven't
affect
heard
it. It
any
won't affect
discussion about
MBEW.
withdrawal. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. You bet.
This is Rio again. I do have the DBE withdrawal form. I will post a link to it in the chat here in a minute. So if you do decide that you want to withdraw from the program, which we're very sorry to see that happen, but I do understand the burden this is placing on your business and so on. So I will place a link to that form here, so you have that if you need it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Are you taking additional questions?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Oh, thank you so very much. Rio, I appreciate a previous response. My question is, under the KCMO guidelines, in order to qualify to be a minority or a woman-owned business, you also have to qualify to be a DBE. So I understand what you're saying, that the M&W goals aren't affected through KCMO, but logically, won't the status as an M or W ultimately be affected if you're no longer a DBE? Then By logic, you're also no longer M or W. Am I misunderstanding that?
Yes, that's incorrect. I'm going to let Mark, ask Mark to answer this one.
They're two separate programs. One's a local program, it has no bearing on DBE. DBE has no bearing on us at this juncture.
Yeah, when we do certify minority or women business companies or applications, we also make the determination whether or not you are applicable for the DBE and give that to you as well, certify you in that as well. But they are two separate programs, and the MWBE is not affected at all by this interim final rule. You will continue as an MWBE as long as you qualify for it.
Let me follow up with the question of the DBE and the lack of interest in recertifying. Are you saying that the only way that I can not be a part of the program is if I fill out a form?
Previously, the DOT has wanted you to file one of those withdrawal notices. I would say under this one, just stating you wish to withdraw would be enough. I mean, I'm not positive on that, but in this case where you're reevaluating everybody, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be able to submit just a statement saying, I no longer wish to be a part of it.
Yes, just to follow up on that.
I didn't say I wouldn't. I just asked the question as to whether or not that is the only way to withdraw. Are you saying that everybody who wishes not to be a part of the DBE program any longer must fill out this form? Is that a absolute, or is that just a paper procedure?
No, as I stated, I believe in this case where you're having to reevaluate everyone, a simple statement would be sufficient.
Okay. Yes, just to follow up on that, if you get any of those messages from us, or you just want to send an email to that CREO DBE to say you no longer wish to be part of it, that I'll take you off the list there. I'll go through that. But yeah, if you want to respond to the emails that you get, the correspondence you get from us, or if you want to email that inbox directly, just tell us.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you everyone so much for your time. Just a reminder, we'll be ending this webinar at 11:15. But you can please send your questions to creodbe@kcmo.org, and you can also visit our website at kcmo.gov/creo. That's CREO. Thank you. Any more questions in the meantime?
Yeah, one last question. Can we get a recording of this?
Yes, a recording will be posted to our website at kcmo.gov/creo.
Sharon Reed, you've had your hand up for a minute. Do you have a question?
I'm sorry, you answered my question. I just forgot to take it back down. My apologies.
And may I ask one last question? This has got nothing to do, well, it is related to what we are all experiencing as DBE firms. I'd like to talk to the DBE firms on the call here and tell them that there's an organization called DBEs of America. They can go to their website and get additional information, and they will be lobbying. This group is going to go to Washington, D.C. In November to lobby legislators so that when the upcoming DBE program comes up for renewal, they will then lobby the legislators to ensure that the program is kept intact. So sorry to do this, but I think that it's helpful to the firms to know that.
Thank you. Ria, you have your hand raised.
Yes, apparently I'm not able to attach a document to this chat here, so I am going to post this at the withdrawal form. It's a notice of voluntary withdrawal from the DBE program. And it is a fillable form. Again, so if you want to fill out the official form, which again, as Alex and Mark were saying, you don't have to, you could just let us know. But if you do want to fill out the official form and send it to us, it will be available at kcmo.gov/CREO. And along with a recording of this webinar and the Q&As and links to all the websites that are available to us through Department of Transportation. Thank
Could
you.
the personal net worth statement also be uploaded there too? So that way
Yes.
We can go ahead and start getting that process before we, just having that available just to download versus having to create the portal and create the application to be able to access it. It just creates another barrier.
Yes, it's already there and it's a fillable form.
Oh, perfect. And then has anybody actually been approved already under this new process? Is there any wins that have happened thus far?
Alex, have you received any? You mean by our department?
I mean, through this new recertification, has anybody already been approved?
I can't really speak to nationwide. I don't know on other jurisdictions if they've received something. I know we have a few on the call. Maybe somebody could speak to that who are from other jurisdictions, but we've only gotten a couple and they're still under review. So I actually was just like, I think it's yesterday, I assigned the first one to the teams. So far, no with us. We've gotten the first back and we've signed, but we have not gotten through that process yet.
Thank you.
So I can
Awesome.
speak, I'm from out of state too, and I can say that in my home state, they haven't established anything as yet. So there are no firms that were certified. Similarly, in Illinois, where I'm certified, they have given a date till I think, 18th of November, perhaps, to get or the 19th, to get all this information in, the narrative as well as the personal net worth statement. So I'm assuming that they have not certified any firms as yet.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for joining us today and taking the time to ask questions and giving your opinion. Thank you so much. Just a few reminder, please send your questions to CREO, CREO DBE at kcmo.org. If you have opted out of receiving messages from our B2G compliance system, you may change this by logging in and opting back in. Please visit our website at kcmo.org/CREO for updates on any further changes, to receive additional guidance, and to view a recording of this webinar. Thank you all so much for joining us today.
So if our
And have a
questions haven't
wonderful
been
day.
answered yet, we're supposed to be getting an email. Is that how this is working? Like I've submitted a question.
You can send those questions to creodbe@kcmo.org.
Yeah, I mean, I already did, but we haven't gotten to it yet, I guess. My question was if we plan to comment on the DBE interim final rule to the Department of Transportation, what are some suggestions for constructive comments? I mean, and I gave a couple of examples, but I wanted to know your opinion.
We can't advise on that because it is a government program, and we can't lobby or provide that advice. However, I can tell you, if you go to that link, there are already, and they are public, since they are public comment, you can read the comments that have been submitted so far and see if, any of those prompt you to provide your, to craft your comment.
Yeah, I wanted to know, from your perspective.
Good afternoon. I just have one quick question before you sign off. You said if we had unsubscribed or somehow was not still connected to B2G, is it B2G now? Is it just B2G? Where can I find that link?
Please let the CREO DBE at kcmo.org know if you have opted out or if you are not receiving the emails that come through the B2G Now system. They actually will say City of Kansas City, but they will take you to the B2G Now compliance system. If you're not getting those emails, send your email address and the name of your business to creodbe at kcmo.org or post it in the chat here, and I can look those up and provide you with instruction on how to opt back in to receiving those messages.
Got it. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm
All right.
sorry, we do need to have a hard stop here. If your question was not gotten to during this, we will get to it. Trust us. There are plenty, and we will be answering them either through email, but if it's a question that is coming up frequently, we will add it to our FAQs, which will be available online at kcmo.gov/CREO. I do want to thank everyone again for joining us. I know it's a big chunk of your day to worry about something when you just need to get to work. So I appreciate it. And yes, everything, the recording and everything will be available online by Friday. Thank you.
By Friday. What's the slides? Available by Friday? No, I mean today. They didn't have any today.